This is San Antonio, one of the largest cities in the United States, but somehow it doesn't feel like one. With a population of over 1.5 million, San Antonio is the sixth largest city in the country, bigger than Dallas, San Francisco, and even Philadelphia. But when you picture a major city, you probably imagine dense downtowns, busy streets, public transit, and connected neighborhoods. San Antonio has almost none of that. Instead, it feels like hundreds of suburbs, stretched across a massive area with no real center holding it all together. To understand why, you have to look at its size. San Antonio covers over 500 square miles, more than twice the size of Chicago. Yet it has over 1 million fewer people. That means everything is spread out, really spread out. So the question is, how did one of America's biggest cities end up feeling like one giant suburb? To answer that, we need to go back. San Antonio was founded in 1718 as a Spanish colonial settlement, centered around missions along the river. But real growth didn't happen until the late 1800s, when railroads turned it into a regional trade hub. By the early 1900s, it was actually the largest city in Texas. But unlike cities like Chicago or Detroit, San Antonio never became an industrial powerhouse. It wasn't a major port. It wasn't a financial center. Instead, its economy relied on the military, tourism, and local trade. And that changed everything. Because without heavy industry, there was no pressure to build dense housing, no need to stack people on top of each other, and most importantly, there was plenty of land. So when the city started booming, especially after World War II, it didn't grow upward, it grew outward. From 1950 to 1995, the population exploded, from 400,000 to over 1 million. New neighborhoods kept expanding farther and farther from the city center. Highways like I-10, I-35, and Loop 410 made it easy to live far away and still commute. So instead of building a dense city, San Antonio became a massive web of suburbs. Today, San Antonio has a population density of around 3,000 people per square mile. That's incredibly low for a major city. It's even less dense than places like Houston, Phoenix, and Atlanta, and nearly 3 times less dense than Los Angeles. And that's surprising, because LA is known for sprawl. But here's the difference. In Los Angeles, even suburban areas have apartments, duplexes, and mixed housing packed closely together. In San Antonio, it's mostly large subdivisions, wide roads, and separated zones. Everything is farther apart. Even downtown San Antonio lacks density. For a city this big, it has very few tall buildings and barely any modern mixed-use development. So instead of a strong urban core, you get disconnected pockets of development. And that leads to one major issue: transportation. San Antonio is completely car-dependent. It's the largest city in the U.S. without a light rail system. Public transit is mostly buses, and often too slow or infrequent to compete with driving. So almost everyone relies on cars for everything: work, school, groceries, everything. You'd think a spread-out city wouldn't have traffic problems, but it does, a big one. In 2024, drivers in San Antonio lost around 39 hours sitting in traffic. Why? Because all those suburban areas funnel cars onto the same highways. Local streets don't connect well, so everything gets pushed onto major roads like I-35 and I-10. The solution has usually been to widen highways. For example, the I-35 expansion project, costing over $3 billion. But there's a problem with that. It's called induced demand. When you add more lanes, more people start driving and traffic comes right back. Despite all this, San Antonio is still growing fast. Thousands of people are moving in every year. Why? Because it's affordable. With home prices under $300,000, it's much cheaper than most major cities. For families, that's a huge advantage. But that raises a bigger question. Can a city built like this ever change? Because as long as growth keeps spreading outward and development follows the same suburban pattern, San Antonio may keep growing. But it might never truly feel like a big city. And maybe that's the real reason it feels a little fake. Thanks for watching.